Okay, in the mounting options video we talked about staples and we got into it quite a bit, but let's get into it a little bit deeper. So the main advantage of using staples is really twofold. There's the convenience of it. You know, if you already have a stapler, you know, very easy to just go ahead and grab it and use it to mount your lights. The staples themselves don't cost very much. But I still don't like it because it just drives me crazy that you leave all these holes behind. If you put the lights up, let's say around your door or around your windows, every year, after probably 3 or 4 or 5 years, you're going to have a lot of holes if you don't repaint. And if you've got a good paint job in the first place, you shouldn't have to repaint every 3 or 4 or 5 years, but you'll want to if you use staples as a way to hang your holiday lights, because you just won't like those holes around everything. You know, if it's up in your soffits, you won't notice it so much. And also, once again, you really cannot use staples, certainly not on brick or stone, and I wouldn't use it on vinyl. I don't know anybody that would staple into vinyl or steel siding. So your options are limited in that case. You know, you might as well look at some better options. However, if you do have wood siding and let's say you want to go around a window or a door, you know, sometimes stapling is just the easiest way to do it. Maybe if you make sure you staple into just the trim. If you ever do have to repaint, all you have to do is repaint your trim. You don't have to repaint, you know, the siding itself. Now there is one important consideration when you're using staples, and that is using the right kind of staple, because there's really two kinds. There's square and round head. Square headed staples, you know, that's what we're all used to. That's pretty standard. There's another option, and that is a round-headed staple. And the reason for that, I'm going to illustrate this with a different color. Let's say this is your wire, okay, right here. And of course the wire is going into the board here, in through the staple. And then same here. Whenever you go to pull it down, because that's, you know, when you have staples, you're probably going to pull it down. You're not going to get up on a ladder with needle nose pliers and pull out every staple. When you start putting pressure on this wire as you tug it, it has a tendency to either go this way or this way. And it's going to shift to one side of the staple or the other. And when that happens, you're going to end up with this part of the staple still in. That's going to pull out like that. And so here's your wood. And your staple is going to be left behind. And of course it's going to look stupid to have a bunch of staples up there. They're going to rust. It's going to look bad. So square staples are not a good way to go. If you use a round staple though, when you start to put pressure on this wire, that wire has a tendency to find the very center point here of this staple. And when it finds that center point and starts pulling, it puts equal amount of pressure on both legs. So it pulls them both out at the same time, and you'll never see a round-headed staple left behind because it'll pull out pretty easy. So there is another thing to think about when using staples. So here would be your wire, and you put your staples in, right? Well, if you've ever worked with a stapler, you know you can put more or less pressure on it when you push down onto the wire. And if you do it too harshly, what you'll end up with is a wire that gets pinched, because you know that staple is pushing down on that wire so much that it pushes into the wood, and it really squeezes it and pinches it, and believe it or not, can actually cause a little bit of breakage. It certainly would cause a lot of stress on it. And then what happens is when you go to pull it out, then it'll break there.